I call the honourable member Mike Sabin.
Oh, thank you, sir. Very pleased to take a call and speak to some of the points that Jacinda Ardern has just raised. So, look, I can understand that the member has passion about this particular bill, as the member introducing the bill will have. And, of course, we all, right across this House, see absolute merit in giving every child the best start possible. So it's right, it's absolutely right that there will be passion in this debate, but it's also right that the government has the opportunity and does enact changes that it believes are prudent and right for the time and that address need. And while in a perfect world, every mother would be able to stay at home and have the government support them to do that, I mean, why stop at 26 weeks? Remember, Jacinda Ardern said 26 weeks. It's all about 26 weeks. Well, when my children were growing up, sir, it was 5 years. But there was no paid parental leave. There's actually nothing saying that the government has to support parents to bring up their children well. It's not the case. It's not necessary. There are plenty of people. Sorry, what's the member saying? Well, you see, there's something that party has introduced, and I personally actually believe that there is a balance to get in terms of where the individual's responsibility to plan, to take into account the costs that may be associated with having a child, and to actually ensure that the requisite care, support, nurturing and so forth can be provided for, sir. And one of the interesting calls that's been made right from the get-go is around playing politics, which, I mean, there's a word beginning with H that I could probably pull out of the hat, sir, but I'm not going to. I'm sure members know there's a degree of irony about the fact that what we know is that children who are living in vulnerability or families that are struggling, one of the best things that can happen to them is they have an economy that is growing, that is job-rich, that has well-paid jobs, so that they have the opportunity to increase their income, therefore increase their freedom of choice and their ability to make choices that will be fit for purpose for them, for the needs of their family. So when we talk about playing politics, what we've actually seen from a Labor Party and a Green Party and a plethora of mixtures on the opposition benches is essentially parties who have consistently voted against the government's economic program. Right. So I would challenge the member, Sue Moroney, to stand up and say, if she's so concerned about supporting families, who are, and often the ones that rely on the sort of support are at the margins, if she's so concerned about supporting families, why does the member stand and oppose the efforts of the government to actually grow the economy? What efforts? Well, why is that? I would like the member to tell us. I suspect it's because what the Labor Party want to see, or what opposition parties want to see, is for the government to fail so that they can get onto the Treasury benches. The cost, of course, of that is that ultimately when they're not voting to support measures which will help grow the economy, is they're actually hampering the very people that they say they're there to support. So if we're talking about playing politics, then I'd suggest that members might want to consider what they do at all times, not just when it suits them on a particular bill. And that's the other interesting point, because what we're doing around paid parental leave with a staged, a stepped process to 18 weeks, which is what we believe is fair, reasonable, meets needs and is prudent in terms of the fiscal conditions, is we've heard successive comments about government debt, about the high government debt. And there's a certain member in this House who keeps going on about the worst economic record in 50 years. I can't remember what his name is, but I'm sure... that's all right, Mr Clark. Now, sir, the reason that debt exists is because this government has ensured that the most vulnerable people, that we've taken the sharp edges off the recession and the Canterbury earthquakes. So again, I would put it that members can't have it both ways. You can't on the one hand say, oh, you need to do more and it's about 26 weeks, it's about, basically spending more because this matters, but then ignore the fact that that's exactly what the government has done since particularly the GFC and the Canterbury earthquakes. This government has absolutely been prudent and responsible in ensuring that those most vulnerable people are actually well looked after. And so let's don't forget that people out there in the real world on $50,000 with 2 children are tax neutral. They pay as much in tax as what they get back in support.
Mr Chair.
I call the honourable member Jan Logie.
Thank you, Mr Chair. I'm pleased to take a call for the Green Party in support of this bill at the committee stages, and I'm going to keep my contribution quite short. I think the public doesn't really want to hear us debating economic vision.